Originally scheduled to meet audiences in 2020, the movie End of Investigation finally saw a delayed release in 2026, a full 6 years later. While it was an unfortunate time when many Korean films were shelved as warehouse movies without release dates due to the COVID-19 pandemic that struck the world, the decisive reason this work was locked away was different. It was due to the drunk driving incident of the lead actor Bae Sung-woo, who played the main title role. For the production team waiting for the perfect timing to present the completed film to the audience, the lead actor's fatal private life controversy was a devastating blow that forced an indefinite postponement of the movie's release. 2. Actor Bae Sung-woo was not a star who shot to fame overnight, but a late bloomer who steadily built his filmography and recognition through minor and supporting roles on the theatrical stage and screen over a long period. Receiving great love from the public for his unique, charismatic face and flavorful acting skills, he rose to the ranks of a trusted actor, eventually establishing himself as a reliable lead actor carrying entire productions and showing a narrative of human triumph. Especially in the SBS drama Delayed Justice, he perfectly pulled off the role of a righteous reporter, enjoying the peak of his acting career, which made the public's disappointment and sense of betrayal all the more immense. 3. His drunk driving incident, which broke out while the drama was airing, not only plunged his own career into the abyss in an instant, but also caused massive damage to numerous related personnel and projects. The movie End of Investigation also took a direct hit, falling into darkness with no promise of a release date. If he had been a supporting or minor actor, the team could have considered a plan B, such as heavily editing out his screen time, or forcing the release after bearing the controversy and issuing a public apology. However, he was the undeniable main protagonist, responsible for the beginning and end of this film. Since it was harder to find scenes where he didn't appear due to the flow of the story, deleting the character through reshoots or editing was physically impossible. 4. Eventually, after 6 long years, the release was forced through in 2026. But the cold public opinion and controversy surrounding the film were still ongoing. Although it was a time when Bae Sung-woo himself had already cautiously announced his return through other media, stepping up as the sole lead of a commercial film that demands the audience's money and time on a massive theater screen was a problem on another level before the strict standards of the public. The distributors, who had to be conscious of these inherent limitations, and critical public opinion must have felt a tremendous burden to launch an active and massive marketing campaign ahead of the release. The handicap in film promotion, being unable to put the main protagonist at the forefront, acted as a fatal weakness for box office success. 5. There were clear limits to promoting the film with only the other supporting actors or the director struggling while the main protagonist was missing. Because the external noise surrounding the film was so loud, I headed to the theater with concerns about whether I could fully focus on the work itself. However, as soon as the movie starts, it clearly declares to the audience what kind of genre entertainment it pursues, accompanied by cheerful and rhythmic opening music. The method of leading the play consistently with an intuitive and upbeat tone and manner, without unnecessarily acting heavy or serious, shows the essence of a classic buddy cop comedy reminiscent of the legendary Two Cops series. Starring An Sung-ki and Park Jung-hoon, which received great love in the past Korean film industry. 6. Actually, due to the stigma attached to the lead actor, I pondered for quite a long time, even in front of the theater, whether to watch this movie or not. However, once I bought a ticket and entered the auditorium, I was slightly surprised to see quite a few audience members filling the seats despite it being a rather quiet weekday afternoon. Usually, when visiting the theater in the middle of a weekday, I often found myself sitting all alone as if I had rented the whole auditorium. The fact that a fair number of people had gathered despite the lack of special marketing was clear. Evidence that positive word of mouth about the pure fun and completeness of the movie itself was quietly spreading among the audience. 7. To get straight to the point, setting aside external controversies and looking solely at the work itself, End of Investigation is a commercial film that is quite fun and well-structured, exceeding expectations. The storytelling method is intriguing, and the banter as each character interlocks is excellent. However, the only flaw was the rough directing toward the ending, which felt as if it was hastily patching up the narrative to rush a conclusion. The early part of the film seems to start as a common crime, comedy that lightly and comically satirizes the corruption and deviance of corrupt, lazy police officers. But passing the midpoint, a completely unexpected new incident erupts, and as the two cases cleverly intertwine, it keeps the audience in extreme immersion and tight tension. 8. While the first half of the film induces the audience to disarm with cheerful and somewhat exaggerated comedy, as it enters the second half, it successfully reverses the atmosphere into a quite heavy and serious investigative thriller. The central axis leading the play, Seo Jae-hyuk, is played by Bae Sung-woo, who perfectly embodies the troublemaker detective character who ignores the organization's orders and acts unpredictably based on instinct, utilizing his unique slyness. His partner, Kim Jung-ho, is passionately played by actor Jung Ga-ram. Despite his status as a third-generation chaebol born with a silver spoon, he somehow became a police officer and ended up intertwined with Seo Jae-hyuk, becoming the headache character of the police station. The real struggle begins when this unlikely duo is dispatched to catch a petty criminal at a quiet country church, only to accidentally discover that the petty thief is the suspect of a horrific crime with a massive mastermind behind it. 9. Moving their stage to Seoul to uncover the truth of this massive incident, the duo gets swept into an uncontrollable vortex as they connect with another unexpected power-type crime. The cast of supporting actors joining in this process is also incredibly glamorous and solid. Asom, playing Kang Mi-ju, the prosecutor in charge of the case, shows off her unique, solid, and resolute charisma while smoothly blending an exquisite comedic, acting between the two detectives serving as an excellent lubricant for the play. Jo Han-chul, playing team leader Oh Min-ho of the Seoul headquarters, acts as a sly and seasoned detective whose inner thoughts are unreadable, tuning the tension of the play. Yoon Kyung-ho, who plays Jo Dong-ho, a role initially thought to be a cameo, leaves a strong impression by unexpectedly appearing in a heavyweight role that decisively impacts the narrative development. 10. Particularly watching actor Jung Ga-ram, who excellently displayed a fresh face and comical slice-of-life acting in this film, leaves a deep sense of regret had this work been released on time in 2020 as originally planned. His filmography might have become much more diverse, and he might have been cast in more massive blockbusters much earlier. The time I spent hesitating to watch the film in theaters due to prejudice and resentment toward the lead actor felt pointless, as I was completely immersed in the movie for the roughly 2-hour running time without a single moment of boredom thanks to the tightly woven script and fast-paced directing. Even though all the actors showed an excellent ensemble beyond their roles in their respective places to complete a well-made entertainment film, it leaves a bitter taste as a movie fan that it likely won't see the light of box office success. It deserves due to the indelible stigma brought upon by the lead actor.